I bid you welcome to the Tax Talk. My name is Oyinlola Sale. On this show, we take on issues of tax administration in Lagos State. The idea is to educate and inform both taxpayers and residents of the state. Let's take a look at the highlights. Once we get back, we'll start the discussion.
This is Business News. The Lagos State government has explained why it introduced 8,100 naira tax levy in public primary and secondary schools across the state, saying it is the duty of parents to pay tax. Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Jamiu Ali Balogun, in a statement said the misconception of parents and guardians on the payment of 8,100 naira tax levy as school fees for pupils and students in the ongoing resumption of a new academic calendar year 2023 to 2024 has generated criticism of Lagos State education governance. He said the realization that taxation is one of the core internally generated revenue for the government in order to meet its commitment with public demands is key to developmental strides in the provisions of basic necessities to citizens. According to Ali Balogun, Lagos State government free education policy is still in operation from kindergarten to SS3. The tax payment is the duty of parents to pay. The LIRS staff are attached to schools for easier payment of tax by parents. Parents that have paid their tax need not to pay another but provide their tax certificate for authentication and verification. This can be done instantly by staff of LIRS for necessary documentation as to avoid double taxation, he said. Following the successful switch of the trains from locomotive to electricity over the weekend, the newly inaugurated Lagos Rail Mass Transit Blue Line has increased the train trips from 12 to 54 with further plans to increase to 74 trips by the end of November. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in a public statement he issued through his official X account, described the move as demonstrating the transit commitment to providing an efficient, reliable, and sustainable transportation system for Lagosians. According to him, to make the transition, train services had to be shut down on Saturday, October 14 after the morning peak service and for the entire day on Sunday, October 15 for the switch to electricity. This momentary pause, he noted, was to ensure the residents' safety remains government top priority. He said this switch to electricity will help introduce more trips and help save more passengers safely. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to enhance investment in infrastructure development for economic growth and development. Sanwo-Olu gave the assurance during a courtesy visit by the management of the Securities and Exchange Commission, led by its Director General, Mr. Lamido Yuguda, at Alausa in Lagos recently. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Bafemi Hamzat, said infrastructure development was key to maximize the economic potential and growth of any state or country. Sanwo-Olu noted that Lagos State is investor-friendly and the need to develop its infrastructure is key. According to him, while infrastructure is one of the ways to maximize the economic potential of any country, unfortunately, Nigeria has a deficit of infrastructure. He, however, noted that the federal government and the Lagos State government are not relenting in investing in infrastructure to bring succor to citizens. Citing the rail project as a major infrastructure in the state, the governor said though capital intensive, the project was a worthy one which had put the state on a high pedestal. Earlier in his remarks, Yuguda stated that the visit was an opportunity to rub minds on how the capital market could be harnessed for funding of capital projects. The Special Advisor to Lagos State Governor on Taxation and Revenue, Mr. Abdulkabir Ogungbon, has said the state plans to expand the tax net by bringing new taxpayers into the system and not overboarding the current taxpayers. He said this was important to drive internally generated revenue that will help to boost infrastructure in Lagos State, which is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. The Special Advisor said his office will focus on three major tripods, which are property, informal sector, and digital space. Speaking on what constitutes the property aspects such as landed properties, vehicles, and others, he said taxpayers were being enjoyed to make their little contribution to the big responsibility that the government was saddled with in a way that was commensurate to this status. And that's it on Business News.
Today we're talking about the effects of information technology on the efficiency of tax administration in Lagos State. It goes without saying that the world has become smaller and more proficient with the advancements made in the area of information technology. Almost anything can be done on the go with your phone or electronic device. Ease and convenience of doing business are now major considerations in the business climate. The LIRS Assistant Director, Information Technology, Mr. Rasheed Olu-Ajayi, is our guest as we tackle this topic headlong on the Tax Talk. You're welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
It seems your agency is very interested in the areas of incorporating technology in all its dealings. Now, how has this contributed to the effectiveness of tax administration?
Well, thank you. The agency has spent a lot of money in the last 6 years on innovative and technology processes. And recently, the agency migrated its end-to-end tax administration system onto to digitize the system and also to automate it to make ease of doing business simple for our stakeholders, which are the taxpayers. And essentially, we have done that to ensure that data privacy, data security, appropriateness to IGR is met, and also to ensure that the ease of doing business is brought to our taxpayers.
And what are some of the key considerations when you're designing these IT systems for tax data collections?
Well, we have to look at the appropriateness of IGR technology to IGR. We have to look at data privacy. We have to look at the integrity of our platforms. We have to ensure that the data of our taxpayers are secured and safe. So these are the things that we look for to ensure that tax administration is made effective. And over the past few years, we've seen the success in that, because we're able to migrate our old legacy application to a new one, and we have seen the effect of doing that because our IGR in the last few years have increased. So there is a critical success factor in in leveraging on technology for tax administration systems.
Well, that's good to know. In the context of compliance, LIRS published a notice on e-tax optimization last year. Now, can you shed more light regarding that?
Okay, the e-tax optimization is actually a bill generation module which was included in the e-tax application. Don't forget, I did mention earlier that the agency successfully migrated the e-tax application, which is the end-to-end tax administration process. But the bill optimization module is one that would allow taxpayers to be able to generate a bill before making a payment. Usually in our legacy system, people or taxpayers would obviously just go to the bank, pay to a tax code and an agency code. But now we have simplified the process that a bill has to be generated on the e-tax platform, which payments can be made upon. This is to ensure that bill reconciliations are done seamlessly without any fault, because obviously in the legacy application, you could have reconciliations of payments going wrong because people pay into the wrong code. But effectively, with this bill generation module, it means that taxpayers can, at a touch of a button, generate a bill on e-tax and make payments on e-tax without necessarily having to go to the bank. And that can be seamlessly done at the comfort of their own homes or their offices.
Now, did this report reflect a migration from the old system to the new system?
Well, yes, it has, but though it has come with few challenges which we are working tirelessly on to resolve. But the positive aspects of it, whereby we can easily do reconciliations, where people can get their revenue receipts at the touch of a button, where payments can reflect on taxpayers' profile, is one that has been positive for us, and that has been going well. So yes, it has made positive impacts, and revenue generation obviously has also been on the increase.
Thanks for all you have said so far, Mr. Rasheed, but we need to go on a quick break right now.
Thank you.
We're going on a short break right now. We'll be right back.
I mean, make I start shortlist business. They give them 150K to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, smart. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you not fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, you are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
Welcome back. We have been discussing the effects of information technology on the efficiency of tax administration in Lagos. I still have here with me Mr. Rasheed Olu-Ajayi, Assistant Director Information Technology at Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Now, earlier on, you spoke about the impact of technology on tax administration. Now, let's move on with our conversation in the area of the e-tax platform. Who is eligible to register?
Essentially, you have individuals and entities that are residing in Lagos that are eligible to register. And when I say individuals, I mean all taxpayers that reside in Lagos. And those entities are corporate organizations that also are transacting their businesses in Lagos. Those are the ones that are eligible to register on the e-tax platform.
And what can be done regarding the issue of multiple payer IDs?
Well, the issue of multiple payer IDs is one that is inherent in the past few years. We have instances where people have multiple payer IDs on the legacy system. But with the migration of the Enterprise Tax Administration onto the new platform, that has obviously been mitigated because everyone that is registered on the e-tax platform is uniquely identified with a BVN. But for us to be able to clean our database, it means that individuals will need to request for a taxpayer merger. Once we've looked at those taxpayer merger, we see that those two payer IDs are for the same taxpayer or the same entity, then that request will be treated. But it will also be unfair on the agency to think that this would be done speedily for something that has been inherent over the years. And for us to also do that, it also means that individual taxpayers having these multiple payer IDs will need to come forward for us to be able to match their payer IDs. So that means obviously it will take some longer time before this can be done. But don't also forget that these payer IDs have they have financial transactions on them, so we have to make sure we do due diligence in merging the payer IDs so that we don't merge the wrong transactions against the wrong payer IDs. And again, it's also worthy of noting that some of these people may have jackpot as well, if I may use that word. Some might have relocated out of Lagos, some might be dead, and so it definitely will take time before that issue of multiple payer IDs is resolved. But we are working tirelessly on it, and we are ensuring that at every single instance, again, this is why BVN and NIN is required for everybody that needs to register on e-tax so that we can uniquely identify them. But essentially, we're working tirelessly on it to ensure that we bring this to the barest minimum going forward.
So that actually leads me to the next question, which is still on the multiple payer IDs. And we would just like to know if it's possible to integrate these IDs from other government agencies into one.
Well, it's possible. Currently, the different agencies, you have the federal government agencies, you have the state government agencies, all working independently, and they all have their own uniquely payer IDs as well. But with FIRS and all the state IRS collaborating together with the JTB, the Joint Tax Board, being an umpire, we're working tirelessly to ensure that we integrate all these payer IDs into a tax identification number, which is TIN for every taxpayer, so that we can make sure that we enhance the ease of doing business across the nation. So we're working on that to ensure that that would be integrated with the FRS TIN and the through JTB initiatives.
Regarding taxpayer information, what steps is the LRS taking to ensure that every time their information is updated accurately and efficiently?
So that's why we usually would enjoin all taxpayers to register on e-tax because the e-tax application is an end-to-end tax administration system, is automated, is digitized. So for anyone making payments, you need to have generated a bill on e-tax. Once you've generated a bill on e-tax and make payments with that bill generation, you can be rest assured that your payment would almost instantly be profiled on your, will almost instantly reflect on your profile if you make payments through that platform. So we have digitized that process, and payments are showing almost immediately on that platform currently.
What is the typical duration that actually takes LRS to update employee tax?
It's almost immediately. Once you make payments on the e-tax platform, it's immediately. On our legacy system, it used to take about 24 to 72 hours, but with e-tax Enterprise Tax Administration, it's almost immediately.
Are there plans to automate the application process for tax clearance certificates?
The tax clearance certificate has already been automated. We have an electronic tax clearance certificate now on e-tax, where individuals who have filed their returns can actually make payments on that return and can process their TCC on the e-tax platform. There are one or two requirements, though, for that to be done. It means that anybody who wants to obtain a tax clearance certificate on e-tax platform would have filed their returns in the last 3 years, would have had their employer file their returns in the last 3 years as well, would have uploaded the picture on the e-tax profile, would have amended their address, and then would have paid on the tax that is due on their assessment on the platform. So once they've done that, then at the touch of a button, individuals can, at the comfort of their own homes, generate their tax clearance certificate.
Well, lastly, what is your strategic direction regarding tax technology in the foreseeable future?
Well, we would need to continue to drive technology through the e-tax, through tax revenue generation under the, as approved by His Excellency, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who has obviously invested a lot of money on tax-driven processes in the system. And obviously, in line with the ICT roadmap as approved by the executive management under the stewardship of Mr. Ayosuba. So we would definitely continue in that drive.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Rasheed, for coming on the show today. It was quite revealing and, of course, interesting delving into the world of tax technology.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's certainly my pleasure. The discussion may be over, but the show is definitely not. Please keep that seat warm. We'll be back.
I mean, make I start shortlist business. They give them 150K to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, smart. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you no fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, you are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
The Lagos State government has several projects it has embarked on and several ongoing as well. We shine the spotlight on one of such projects on Tax Did It.
We said we were going to reconstruct completely this 18.75 kilometer road. And today, we're thankful to God because we have transformed from a 2-lane rural road to a 6-lane rigid concrete road with full complement of all of the road infrastructure, including street lights, with drainage complements. And this, we can say, is one of the best roads that you can see in any part of this country. This is one of the best newly constructed rigid pavement roads that you can be proud of. And why so? It's because we believe you deserve it. Because we believe our citizens on this corridor deserves the very best. We cannot shortchange you. You don't deserve our measures. You deserve the very, very best and the best in class. And that's why we're happy that you are also happy with the retinue of our traditional institutions that are here, with the compliments of all our religious leaders that are here, with the compliments of all our community leaders, our political leaders that are here, that you have come to confirm and validate our decision to build this road. And because you know that we're a listening government, and the fact that you cry to us is not because you just want to be a complainer, because you believe we can do it. And you said to us, we should continue with the phase 2 of it. And you can see that the phase 2 also has started. And the phase 2 is not just reconstruction, it's also widening into 6 lanes.
You're still watching the Tax Talk. My name remains Olu-Ajayi. As we take to the streets of Lagos, time to tax your brain.
Hi, my name is Nifemi. Welcome to Tax Your Brain on the Tax Talk. We have an interesting question for the residents of Lagos today. Let's see who gets it right.
I think e-tax.
Taxation.
E-tax.
Should be, I think, e-tax. Thank you, Tax Talk. Thank you, LIRS.
Thank you for being a part of today's Tax Your Brain. Until next time, stay tuned.
We are back from the streets of Lagos, which can sometimes be such a fun place. Quick reminder, we are on social media platforms with the on-screen handles. Kindly follow us, it will be appreciated. That's all we have time to take on the Tax Talk today. I hope you've learned a bit on how the LIRS is leveraging technology to make tax administration processes a much smoother experience for taxpayers. My name is Olu-Ajayi. I'll see you next episode.